Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from clearly not the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So yeah, I'm on the road right now, so I'm recording in the best setup I possibly can. My friend's slightly unfinished room. A little work needs to be done right here. You know, everyone comment below how my friend clearly needs to get this done. Thank you. Regardless, on this episode, I'm going to be taking you through, well, a fantastic deck tech coming to you courtesy of my amazing patrons. Once a month, my patrons vote on a commander that they want to see in an upcoming episode. The commander gets the most votes, well, wins. And the commander for this deck tech is Nine-Fingers Keene, a 4/4 human rogue with Menace, Ward, P9 life that costs 1 black, green, blue, so Sultai. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 9 cards of your library and you put a gate card from among them on the battlefield. Then if you control 9 or more gates, put the rest in your hand. Otherwise, put the rest bottom of your library in a random order. So essentially, yeah, gate tribal in 3 color, looking to get at least 9 gates into play. And once we do, absurd amounts of card advantage from that combat trigger. Keep in mind, Menace is a pretty good way to get through in combat. It needs to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. There's some ways to play with that as well to ensure that we can essentially just get it through every single time. Yeah, so we have ways to essentially ramp with this. We have ways to get gates into play. We've got other ways to get these gates into play too, to kind of speed up the process. And of course, ways to, well, generate an absurd amount of card advantage again and take advantage of that once we get things really going. Now, this deck tech, like many of my others, is very budget friendly, with this deck coming in, according to Moxfield, at $23.02. And yes, unfortunately, that does not include the cost of shipping or basic lands, but you might already have those basic lands, or you can borrow them from a friend. Regardless, it is still very, 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 very budget friendly. Again, estimated at $23.02. So if you are interested in this deck, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. Now, with all that said, let's jump into the tactics. And we're going to start things off by quickly going through the gates with tactic number 1, open the gates. First up, we've got Baldur's Gate, a legendary land gate that can tap for colors. You can also pay 2 and tap and add X mana of any one color X the number of other gates you control. So this can be a ton. Again, we can have a lot of gates in play. Then we've got Basilisk Gate. This can tap for colors, or we can pay 2 and tap and target creature gets +X until turn X number of gates we control. Only as a sorcery, that's okay. Again, a great way to pump our commander, potentially turn our commander into, well, even a 2-shot KO, and maybe even a 1-shot KO when suited up properly. We're talking about that here in a bit. Moving on, Black Dragon Gate, very simple, very effective. Enters the battlefield tapped. Choose a color other than black, and it can tap for that color plus black. Then we've got Dimir Guild Gate. This one can tap for 2 of our colors. Gateway Plaza enters the battlefield tapped. Sacrifice unless you pay 1, and it can tap for any color, so this can help us fix our mana. Golgari Guild Gate, yet another one of our guild gates can tap for 2 of our colors. Gone Gate, this one can tap for our colors, or tap for 1 mana of any color that a gate we control could produce. So this can potentially just tap for all of our colors. Then there's Heap Gate. This one can actually make us treasure tokens. Pay 1 and tap and add a tap and untap gate we control to make a treasure token. Manor Gate, this one is basically the exact same thing as the previous one. That could add for a black. This one can add for a green. We've got Sea Gate, exact same thing essentially. This one also taps for a blue instead. Simic Guild Gate, yet another guild gate that taps for 2 of our colors. Then we've got, well, Thran Portal. Enters battlefield tapping to control 2 or fewer other lands, so early on this can be, well, great. Enters the battlefield, which is a basic land type. It is the chosen type of other types, and mana abilities are going to cost additional 1 life to activate. That is okay. And finally, we've got one that technically is not a gate, but kind of is Thespian Stage. Can tap for 8 colors. You can pay 2 and tap becomes a copy of target land except it has this ability. So again, it is kind of like a pseudo gate that we can make into one of our gates to really speed up the process. Next up, let's move on to tactic number 2, the Golden Pig, where we talk about the number 1 card out of our 99, which is Mazes. And yeah, I had to include this one. Push the budget a little bit at $1.48, but still, there you go. A land that enters the battlefield, tap, it can tap for a colors, pay 3 and tap and bounce it back to its owner's hand. Search left for a gate, put on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. If you control 10 or more gates with different names, you win the game. So this one can be a great alternative win condition for us that really can actually go pretty quick with this kind of a deck. We can get gates out quite quickly, again, with our commander and with other things as well, and with this too. And once we get to 10, well, we just win essentially once we activate this. So yeah, it's a fantastic card, definitely a really sweet one, and yeah, definitely in my opinion worthy of the title of Golden Pig. But now let's go into tactic number 3, Gate Getters. And yeah, we can get gates with a lot of cards. Crop Rotation's a great one. Basically, just sacrifice one land, go get any land into play, and yeah, that can usually be one of our gates. Next up, open the gates for a single green mana. Go get any basic or any gate card, reveal it, put in your hand, then shuffle. Gate Creep Refine, very similar, but it's basically on an ETB. This one is a 0/2 defender as well. They can help us, with blocking too. Moving on, Nylea's Intervention. This one can be a way to get a ton of lands. Basically, sorcery for X green, choose one. Well, the second mode is nice in case you need to get rid of some flyers. X damage, twice X damage, I should say, to each creature with flying. But if you do the first mode, which is usually what we're going to choose, search your life for X land cards, reveal them, put in your hand, then shuffle. Again, it does not say basics, X land cards. So again, go get a lot of gates and get set up. Sylvan Scrying, very simple, very effective. 2 mana, go get any land, put it right in your hand. District Guide, a great one as well. ETB, go get a basic land or again a gate and get it into your hand too. Then we've got Navigation Orb, kind of like a bigger Wayfarer's Bauble in a way. Pay 2 tap sacrifice, go get 2 basic lands and or gate cards, reveal them, put them on the battlefield tap, put 1 on the battlefield tap, 1 in your hand, then shuffle. Circuitous Route though, this one actually can get 2 into play. Again, search your life for the 2 basic land cards and or gates. Put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So basically an exposed to vegetation, but with that gate alternative, decision. Then we got Reap and Sow. This one, go get 1 land or destroy a land or do both if we entwine it. And again, does not specify basic, so go get that gate. Explore the Underdark. Go get 2 basic lands and or gates on the battlefield tap, then shuffle. And also, you take the initiative, so that's nice as well, especially since we have a commander that can get through pretty easily once we're set up properly. Hour of Promise. Basically, go get 2 land cards, get them right on the battlefield. Again, those can be our gates. Then we've got Realm Seekers. This one can actually be a massive threat for us. Enters the battlefield, X counters on or X the total number of cards in all players' hands by paying 3 mana. 2 and a green. Remove a counter from it, search your life for a land card, reveal, put in your hand. This is a great repeatable effect for us. Again, we're going to have a lot of mana with all these different effects, and we can utilize those to just tutor up gate after gate after gate to really get things going. And then finally, Titania's Command, very simple, very flexible. Choose 2, exile player's graveyard, gain a lot of life. Search for 2 lands, get them on battlefield tap. That's what we're usually going to choose right there. You can get 2 bears, and you can also get counters on creatures. Depending on the situation, choose the other mode. But yes, you're probably just going to mostly choose that one mode to go get those 2 lands into play tap to really get the gate going. But that's going to tactic number 4, extra, because yeah, we have more ways to get more gates into play. Now, these are going to be getting lands from our hand into play, and yeah, once we get those gates into our hand, we can get them right out. There's many journeys. The first one is, hey, we get to play initial land. Great, so get that land into play, and if it's a gate, even better. Gain 2 life, exile, transform is the third one, and then it's got to turn over to, when it comes blocked, untap 3 lands. Lovely, a nice little kind of ramp for us. Then we got Explore, pledge to land this turn, draw a card. Very simple, very effective. Growth Spiral, basically the exact same thing, but at instant speed. Join Exploration. Speaking of instant speed, this one we can kick, scry 2 and draw a card. If it was kicked, we get a land from our hand onto the battlefield. And yeah, again, another way to get another gate into play. Summer Bloom, for just 2 mana, we can get 3 gates into play. Play 3 additional lands this turn. Scale the Heights, this does a lot of things. Get a counter up to 1 target creature, gain 2 life, additional land, and draw a card. All the lovely things. Speaking of drawing cards, though, Eureka Moment. Draw 2, you can get a land from your hand right on the battlefield again at instant speed. Beanstalk Worm. We've got a Plant Bean, Sorcery Adventure, 2 mana, play additional land this turn. Lovely. They're also, a 5/4 with reach if we decide to play, once we after we do the adventure, essentially. Urban Evolution, draw 3, play additional land. That is huge. And finally, Jadzi. Let's, we'll talk about the front side first. Discard a card, return to its owner's hand. It's a 5/5. Whenever you cast copy in sorcery spell, reveal the top card of your library. It's a non-land card. You may cast it for just 1 mana. And if it's a land card, put it around the battlefield. But more importantly, on the back side, hey, Journey of the Oracle. Sorcery for 4 mana, put any number of land cards from your hand on the battlefield, and if you control 8 or more lands, you can discard a card to return this back to its owner's hand. Basically a giant way to just dump lands from our hand into play, and this can be huge early in the game, can be huge in the game later in the game. Yes, a great way to get a ton of lands, including gates again, into play quickly. Moving on, though, let's go on to attack number 5, play on repeat, and yeah, we've got a lot of great creatures in this deck that can really help us do some pretty crazy things, including some infinite things, potentially. We'll talk about that later. Sky's Red Ranger, a 1/1 that we can tap and put a land from our hand into play. Only at sorcery speed, again, that's okay. It's, again, another way to get an extra land from our hand right on the battlefield. Badoka Gardener, again, the exact same thing, essentially, but no limitation on sorcery speed. That being said, if we got 10 more lands as flips, and we can make giant elementals to win the game from there. Land of our Scout, again, tap, put a land from our hand on the battlefield. Scaled Orbis does the exact same thing. You're seeing a pattern here. Zamone, this one does cost mana. Pay 1 in tap to do the same, or pay 4 in tap to draw a card. If we control 8 or more lands, which of course we will very quickly, very easily, draw 2 cards instead. And then finally, Patron of the Moon, incredible 5/4 flyer. Pay just 1 mana, you get 2 land cards from your hand into play tapped. Yeah, that is pretty absurd, getting a ton of lands very quickly directly into play. But next up, let's go into tactic number 6, Swing Away, because again, we really want to incentivize our commander to attack and, incentivize our commander to get through on our opponents. Swing Away is going to start off with Cliff Haven Kite Sail. Enters battlefield, we attach it right to our commander. Quick creature has flying. That's typically going to be enough, to get our commander through, especially since our commander already has Menace. So if our opponents don't have, 2 flyers, this is getting through. Zephyr Boots, again, flying, and whenever quick creature deals combat to a player, we get to loot, draw, then discard. Speaking of looting, Key to the City. Tap, discard a card. Okay, I guess rummaging, technically. Up to 1 target creature can be blocked this turn, so basically unblockability comes untapped. We get to pay 2, and if we do, we draw a card. So kind of like a delayed looting effect. Next up, Mask of Riddles. Quick creature has Fear, so essentially, again, with Menace, that's going to be really, really, really hard to block. But if quick creature deals combat to a player, we can draw a card, which is great. Swords Coast Sailor, a great background to have in play. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, this creature can't be blocked this turn. So there you go, a way to get it through. Varak Battlehorn's a very sneaky way to get through. Quick creature is Trample, that doesn't matter because it can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. Again, basically the opposite of Menace. So it can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, and it can't be blocked by 2 or more creatures. So yeah, it just can't be blocked essentially. Wings of Hubris. Creature has flying, and also we can sacrifice this to give a quick creature basically unblockability, and we have to sacrifice our commander when we do that. There are going to be certain situations where it's kind of like a game-ending play to do so, though. Finally, Levitation, a great way to make all of our creatures harder to block. Every single one of our creatures has flying for just 4 mana for enchantment. This card is incredible. And yeah, we're going to have some opportunities to swing a giant army at our opponents, and it's going to be even more terrifying with this. But now let's move on to tactic number 7, Swing, because, well, we can get more out of our swings with our commander with Gavel the Righteous. At the beginning of combat, your turn, you get a charge counter on this. Quick creature gets +1 for your charge counter on it, and as long as it has 4 or more counters on it, quick creature is double strike. So, yeah, double strike can be absolutely incredible, especially, again, because our commander has that combat damage trigger. So you get to double up on that, and 2 triggers can be incredibly impactful. So we're also going to be running Fire Shrieker. Quick creature is double strike, and Brass Knuckles. Basically, when you cast this, you copy it, and the equipped creature, if it has at least 2 equipment on it, essentially, it's going to have double strike. And yeah, we've got these equipments, we got the ones that we just talked about. Plenty of opportunities essentially to say, yeah, we've got double strike on our commander. It's going to hit twice as hard. Can be a win condition for us, again, with that commander damage. And yeah, just getting extra combat damage triggers to, well, really take advantage of our commander's fantastic trigger. Next up, let's talk about tack number 8, Land a Hit. To take advantage of our amazing lands and ways to get them into play, well, we've got cards like Blackblade Reforged. Quick creature gets +1 for each land we control. Yeah, our commander can be absolutely massive in absolutely no time. Very easily a 2-shot KO, and again, with those double strike cards, very easily a 1-shot KO to take players out. Next up, Retreat to Coral Helm. I talked about an infinite combo potentially earlier with those Sky Shroud Ranger type cards. Tap, get a land for your hand into play. Yeah, whenever a land is battlefield under your control, you can choose 1 tap or untap target creature, or scry 1. We keep untapping that. Essentially, we keep getting land after land after land after land into play. And with bounce lands, and yes, we're running those, yeah, that can be very, very infinite. Take advantage of landfall triggers like, Retreat to Hagra. Yeah, that's just a win right there. Whenever land is battlefield under your control, you give a creature Death Touch, which again can work great for our commander with that menace. And also on top of that, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life is an even better option when you're going infinite or just when you're draining your opponents out. Moving on to Future Kazandu, yet another way to get our commander absolutely huge in no time. Counter on target creature with landfall, or gain 2 life if we need to pad our life total. Spore Mound, whenever a land comes into play, we get a 1/1 Sapperling, build an army in no time. Bigger army, though, is Zendikar's Royal, make a 2/2 Elemental, and even bigger, oh man, even bigger army with Rampaging Balos, landfall, 4/4 Beast token for every single land that comes into play. Yeah, this can be game ending. Next up, though, we've got even more ways to take advantage of our lands and our gates with, well, attack number 9, Strike It Rich. Guild Summit, a great card, enters the battlefield, can tap any number of untapped gates you control and draw a card for each card, or each gate tap this way. That can be a ton. On top of that, whenever a gate enters the battlefield under control, you draw a card. So this can provide an absurd amount of card advantage throughout the game. Next up, Seer Sundial. Not free card advantage, but still can apply to all of our lands. Landfall, basically, hey, pay 2, draw a card every single time a land comes into play. This is coming huge. And even bigger, though, Tatiova. Free card advantage when our lands come into play. Whenever land is battlefield under control, you gain 1 life to pad your life total and also draw a card. Yeah, this is absurd. This is insane. And this can really just be a giant engine to keep our deck going. But now let's go on to tactic number 10, away with you, because yeah, we've got some ways to throw wrenches into our opponent's plans as well. Broken Bond, a great one to store an artifact or enchantment, get a land from your hand right onto the battlefield. So yeah, ramp and, well, ruining your opponent's fun. Then there's Retreat to Nature, very flexible. Store an artifact or an enchantment or exile card from a graveyard. You come to a river, again, very flexible. Bounce a non-land permanent back to its owner's hand for just 2 mana, or make a creature unblockable. So again, a way to get our commander through. Filter out, bounce everything that is not a creature and not a land. So yeah, a way to really slow things down. Consuming Tide, bounce absolutely everything except for 1 non-land permanent per player. So again, you can keep your commander into play and say, hey, everyone bounces things. And then if opponents have more cards in hand than you, then you get to draw some cards too, which is lovely. Perplexing Test. You can return all token creatures or all non-token creatures back to their hands, depending on the situation. Again, if you've made an absurd amount of Beast from Rampaging Balos or Zendikar's Royal or whatnot, sure, bounce all the non-token creatures to assume that you can just actually take your opponents out with those tokens. Then we've got Flood of Tears. Again, bounce basically everything. You can bring something back into play, essentially cheat something into play from your hand if you bounced enough permanents. Then we also have Necromantic Selection, basically a one-sided board wipe in a way, destroy every single creature, then get any creature that got hit the graveyard essentially right back into play. So again, Nine-Fingers Keene can be a great option. Just get right back out and say, yeah, we're good to go. We're good to keep things going. We just slowed things down, but we are back at it. But now this episode is coming to a close. It's time for me to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts are on this deck. And again, if you are interested in it, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.